Seahawks fans, wherever you may be, thanks for listening to the show. Join your hosts, Bill Alvstad and Keith Myers, as we talk Seahawks football. Hey, hi, Seahawks fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Seahawks Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Bill Alvstad, sitting down with co-host Keith Myers, here to talk some Seahawks today in the show. It's kind of the first show after the loss to the Rams in Los Angeles, Keith. But it's been a couple of days, so maybe that will give us a little perspective, excuse me, on how we got beat, what we were good at, what we succeeded in doing, what we did not do well at all, and kind of come to this thing with a little bit more wisdom than just bemoaning and crying about the loss straight after the game, which is where I was at. But I think I've moderated just a little bit since then. How about you? How you doing?
I don't know. I wasn't really at that point even right after the game. So I'm maybe we're in good shape, because I looked at this and was I disappointed? Of course I was disappointed. But then I turned it around fairly quick and was like, you know what?
Me too.
They played terribly. Well, let me rephrase that. Sam Darnold played terribly, and they almost won anyway, which is crazy. They had their first 4 trips into the red zone came away with 0 touchdowns on only 6 points. And he threw 4 picks, and they still almost won.
And they could have potentially won had their punter not had his lifetime best kick to put it on the half-yard line with seconds to play, essentially a minute to play.
They got out for a 61-yard kick. They still managed to get into, and a 61 is long, especially into the wind there at in LA. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they had a shot.
They did have a shot, I think, with another kicker. I think Jason Myers on game-winning field goals over 53 yards is 0 for 8.
No way.
Yeah, I just saw that stat. I could have maybe saved it on a screenshot. Hold on. Yeah, it's not good. I didn't save it. But yeah, I saw that. I think Hawkblogger put it out on a tweet where it was like he was 0 for, or he was, anything over 53 yards, he was 0 for. He was 2 for 7 on 53 yarders in the final, minute of a game or game on the line type of a scenario. And which is fine. I mean, all kicks to me are in a vacuum and they all are independent of each other, but anyway, we needed to be 10 yards closer to really solidify that as being a not a gimme, but totally makeable. And I think we could have done that had we done a couple of things different. I think the series before we kind of dicked around with the clock a little bit, didn't have that urgency. I think we did have that urgency on the last drive. We just ran out of space and time. And hats off to the Rams defense. They just kind of kept everything in front, which was fine. We were able to kind of move the ball. It just wasn't enough. The 4 interceptions, those were all really bad. I mean, you go take a look at those interceptions independently, and we can talk about this for a few minutes. Everyone else has harped on it. We don't need to add to the wagon. The thing I'll say is that, they were bad. They were bad. There's no question. He's got to take ownership of it. I don't know what he was seeing in those moments. I'm understanding from a couple other folks, Duger, for example, that says that tight end interception was designed to come in front of the safeties and not sitting on that route like he did. But nonetheless, bad throw, bad decision.
Yeah. Arroyo, that one, I mean, it wasn't a great throw even. I mean, it's hard to know because we don't know where he was supposed to be, but we kind of do know where he's supposed to be based on the route concepts. He should be in front of everybody, but he's still throwing in double coverage.
Coming forward, the corner was right there. Probably could have swatted that from behind.
Yeah,
and the other 3 throws were just absurd, terrible. Like decisions in the moment. Like I couldn't even yell at the TV when I was watching it in live because they were so bad. I was just like, oh my God. Okay. All that aside, this team played really well. So I thought the running game was effective. I thought the play calling was good. I thought the protections were decent, more than decent against the Rams a defensive line that is actually really, really talented and been getting after quarterbacks consistently up until that game.
But this was
and then
Darnold was under pressure all game. He was not comfortable in the pocket. Things were bad in there, and that's probably what created a lot of the stuff. I don't want to say that the protection was good at all. I think the protection was terrible.
It was okay. But if you look at the pressure rates, the pressure rate was the season low for the Rams at 29%. The hits on the quarterback were only 3. And I want to give the line credit for holding up against a really good defensive line. Yes, there was pressure. Yes, it disrupted some timing and so forth. But I've seen Sam Darnold overcome those things successfully in a number of different games. And it just didn't happen in this game. I mean, to your point, yes, we did allow some stuff, especially up the middle. I thought Lucas had a struggle out there on the edge at times. Cross played really well. I want to say as well too, before we get too far along, Gray Zabel update. So saw Mike Macdonald come out and said that the test came back negative on Gray Zabel's knee. So he's day-to-day, listed as day-to-day, won't be going on IR. May have a contusion type of a situation on the backside of his knee. I'm thinking he's got a chance to play. I mean, yes, it was painful in that moment. He didn't know what was going on, etc. But there's no structural damage, and so if he can go, that dude's going to be out there because that guy's a tough guy. So we'll see how that goes. But
I'd be surprised if he plays this week, just simply because of if it's if he got rolled up on, there's no structural damage, but everything hurts, and he's not going to be
and we're
able
playing
to
Tennessee.
move, and so I think if you have him sit out a game, get everything back to normal, and then go out there, and plus you're playing Tennessee, so I mean that should have a lot to do with it.
One more thing I wanted to say about the Sam Darnold thing before I move on completely. I thought I was super impressed with the way Sam Darnold handled adversity in this game. You didn't see the Geno Smith pouting type of situation. I thought that really carried a lot of weight with me, and I think it carried weight with the team. And I think the team really rallied around him, especially in the press conference. We saw Jones really kind of come after people questioning him. I get that, and I understand that. There's questions. There will be after a game like this, but I thought that he handled it well. I thought he was there at the end to be in the game and to be present and really give it a good go there. So those things are going to happen. Unfortunately, it happened with the same team that beat him down the last time they played, which was with him in Minnesota, and he had 9 sacks against him and just really struggled in that game. I was really hoping for that redemption story out of this game, not only Seattle win, but for Sam to be able to come in and have a great game and overcome that and put that thing to rest. Now it continues, which is fine. They've got more opportunities in front of them. I think this team's going to respond. This game for me is a hard game because I predicted a blowout, and I think it could have happened had we played our normal game, but now I think it's a great opportunity for this team to coalesce around each other and come back and respond. It's about how we respond, how Sam responds to this game, especially when we face them again on December 18th. We have to have a great game out of Sam, I think, in that game to really put the doubters to rest, put this team's doubters to rest. And we'll see how that goes. But I thought the defense, Keith, played amazing. I mean, I really want to kind of focus on them because they really did a great job against an offense that was on fire. Like Sam had, I don't know how many touchdowns in a row. I like 13 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, with only one interception coming into this game. Their rushing attack had been effective. They were able to keep him clean, up until this game for the most part. And I thought they really struggled overall. I mean, he ended up 15 to 28 for 130. Obviously, they did enough when they needed to do it, via the turnovers, to have
Mhm.
short fields and just have those extra possessions. But even with all those extra possessions, Keith, we dominated the time of possession overall in the game. We dominated the total yards, in this game. What are your thoughts about the defense?
Okay, so we could just go through some of these. The Matthew Stafford, you already said it, 15 of 28 for 130 yards. That's nothing. And yes, it was short fields, but also it was when they had long fields and they could have made drives outside of the first two drives where they went down and got their 14 points. Um, their offense did nothing all game. Like at that point, um,
What do you
they
think
got
changed?
I just think they made adjustments as far as how they were doing coverage. Make some adjustments, get some guys in the right spots, figure out what how the Rams were attacking you, and then just make your changes. Um, and you know, once you have that, you're like I said, they just shut them down. You can go through some of the other things like third downs. They were 2 of 11.
Mhm.
They only had two third down conversions in the entire game. Um, they
We
were
had 7 of
two,
16. It's not like our offense was horrible in this game. It was just the interceptions.
it was
I
just the
think
turnovers.
without those interceptions, and we convert stuff, even we we have a few more conversions instead of interceptions, and we win this game.
Oh,
At least the way that it played out.
if you take away two of the interceptions, this is a win. Hell, if you take away one of the interceptions, this might have ended up being a win. I mean, that's the Seahawks had a shot to win to fight Darnold throwing 4 picks.
Yeah.
Like the defense played so well. Um, I will say that for the third time in the last two games, the defense had a goal line stop. Well, it's the fourth time that they had a goal line stop, where they stopped a team on fourth down. But they had three times where they've had a goal line stop, and then within two plays, Sam Darnold has turned the ball over and given it back to the other team to come in and score. It's like the defense did their job, and then
Mhm.
yeah, I'm like that right. Those are the types of things that you start to wonder if that's going to have the defense start to like kind of turn on the offense. But we saw in post game stuff the way that Ernest Jones just defended Sam Darnold. Um, I Yeah, I mean, they're not doing that, at least not at this point. Totally got his back, which is great. It's great about the culture and about the team, and it says a lot about Sam also that the way he's kind of owned his mistakes and also um, just the leadership that he has. But I mean, this was a phenomenal performance by the defense against one of the top offenses in the NFL.
So, do you think this loss takes a little bit of the shine off this team, or does this really matter yet? Like, it was built up to matter, right? Game of the year, all that kind of stuff. Talk to me about the reality on the ground.
Well, the reality on the ground is that they play again in a few weeks, and the Seahawks have a chance to redeem this loss and at least come even in the books as far as record and head to head. Um, but they have to have that game if they're going to win the division. There's no way to win that division where they don't win that game. Um, I just don't see a path. The Rams have enough easy games on their schedule to get enough wins that Seattle just can't get a full game ahead of them, which is what they would have to do because they'd lose the tiebreaker. Um, and so they have to get that game. But they've also got games against like this week, Tennessee. That's as much of a gimme game as any game in the NFL this year. That team's terrible.
It's a good game to come
Um,
back from.
Yeah.
But they've got to get their heads together. Like they got to put this LA game out of the way and move forward. I
Mhm.
think Mike Macdonald is pretty good at that. We'll see how that goes because this was a huge game. I mean, this mentally was just like the game in front of them. They really wanted this. They didn't get it. And I want to see how Sam responds. I think it's going to be fine, but
I think
you
he's going
kind
to
of want to see
respond
it.
with well, he'll either respond with 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, or he'll respond with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns because they're so far out in the lead that he doesn't get to throw the ball in the final
Hmm.
3 quarters of the game, which we've seen
I
three
think
other
the
games like
defense
that this year.
has another opportunity to score in that game as well.
Yeah,
And we'll definitely come back later in the week and we'll talk about that one. Yeah, it's interesting. I just think that um, the Rams had a 34% success rate on offense against the Seahawks yesterday. 72nd out of 74 Matthew Stafford starts in Los Angeles. A negative 0.26 EPA per dropback. 74 out of 74. So that was the worst offensive quarterback performance Matthew Stafford has had in 74 games with the Rams.
yeah.
And so
Wow.
it's tough. That makes the loss even tougher because that the team did enough outside of those interceptions to win this game and win it pretty handily. I thought they were the better team. Like interceptions are a weird thing, a weird stat. It just skews the whole thing to make you feel like the whole team lost. It was just ugly, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-mm.
The whole team won this game except for those interceptions. It's like they did enough, and that makes it so frustrating. And you put it on one person, that's hard. I get it, Sam. Whether he's earned it or not, it is what it is. And I like the team that's rallying around him, and he needs to kind of do his part as well. Step forward, figure out what's going on in those situations that causes him to. I don't know if it's a panic, Keith, or if it's just making bad decisions because he really does want to put the team on his shoulders and make a play. And I guess your decision making, he needs to be talked to by the coaches. Whether Mike Macdonald came out in the press conference and said, "Stay aggressive, keep slinging it. We want you to change nothing." And then the private conversations have got to be, we don't want to turn the ball over.
Mhm.
What else can we do in those situations to make sure that doesn't happen?
So, just to look at some other things within the offense to say maybe wasn't as bad as everyone wants to remember it. Ken Walker, 16 carries, 67 yards, right? That's 4.2 yards average. They ended up 35 carries, 135 yards, just barely under 4 yards per carry. It's
And playing from behind the whole time.
yeah, and playing from behind the whole time because they were down 14-3 really early. Um, you know, JSN 9 catches, 105 yards, over 100 yards again, even in a game when his quarterback was throwing the ball to the wrong team. AJ Barner, 10 receptions, 70 yards, had the game of his career so far. Like
Yeah.
just really showed up and did well. Was
We had a
a
touchdown
big part
called
of the
back
offense.
for holding too, Keith, that impacted this
Yeah,
game.
that's true. Um, I mean, you kind of look at the different things like this.
And
The offense
almost we
played
completed that
well.
one to Shaheed, where it was just
Mhm.
batted at the last second there in the
Oh
end
god, that
zone.
was so close. Oh,
And it was
one
slightly
other thing,
underthrown, but yeah.
we can't get out of the show and not mention that one-handed catch by JSN down the left sideline.
That was
Um,
silky smooth. He didn't even bat an eye, man. He just reached his arm up, grabbed that thing, pulled it down, and that was it. Just walked off,
yeah,
threw the ball on the
that was
ground and
that,
continued
that
on.
was the
It's like it was
that
nothing.
was catch of the year. Like so far in the NFL. Like you don't see that. Like that was just and it never bobbled from his hand. He just stuck his hand out
It
there and
looked like
caught it.
his arm was like 10 feet long. He just reached
Yeah.
out and his hand just kept going. And it was like, man.
He's
And he didn't break
just
stride or
so
anything.
good.
Just totally
Mm-mm.
that was cool.
Yeah. The guy is just so good. Like he's easily having the best year of any wide receiver in the NFL, like the best season.
So,
It's
so
it's
here's
freaking
Mike
crazy.
here's Mike Macdonald's takeaway of the game, which is I think our takeaway in essence. He says we're going to see a lot of these guys. We're going to see them twice a year, possibly 3 times. And to me, it's whoever evolves the best from game to game, and who learns from it, who grows the most, is going to get the advantage every time we play. Every time we play, it's an absolute knockdown, drag out fight. He says that we have a competitive advantage of being young and being able to learn. So that's encouraging to me, that mindset.
Hmm.
In that, listen, this is just one battle in a longer war. And yeah, we came up short. We played well. We made some mistakes, cost us the game, but we're going to learn from it. We're going to respond, and whoever adjusts is going to come out on top. So we'll see. I mean, that kind of puts it on him in a way, and I appreciate him for that.
Hmm.
Um, and it's kind of true. It's like this is this is one of those unique battles that you talk about the coaching. You don't really talk about the coaching matchups very often
Oh,
we
but
do our
this is a
preview
coaching
shows
matchup.
and so forth. Right? This is a battle.
This is the
And
best
it is.
offensive coach in the league, in Sean McVay, against the best defensive coach in the league, and Macdonald. And honestly, like, this is going to be a matchup which is going to be fun uh, all the time. Like, it's every time it's
Hmm.
going to be fun. One of the things that was really interesting about this is like I just said that right, the best offensive coach versus the best defensive coach. Um, in just offense versus defense, I'd say Seattle won that because of what they did to the Rams offense. This game
Yeah.
was decided by the other sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Seattle's offense versus their defense.
And that should also be a
Um,
lesson.
yeah. And so it really just comes down to they've got to take better care of the football. To take better care of the football, they win this one going away. Um,
Stafford came in as the leading MVP candidate, really. And he had a low completion rate of 53.6 in this game, low passing
mhm.
yards of 130, passing per attempt of 4.6. That was the fewest yards per attempt since 2008 for Stafford, and the fourth fewest in his entire 116 game career. I would say Mike Macdonald came on top of
Yeah,
that first matchup. It was just,
it's
situations
just the
beyond his
interceptions.
control.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will say that like Sam Darnold was, um, you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago was probably the leader in the MVP race, and he's played himself out of that. He has a chance to play himself back into it, but he needs to have, these last 6 games, he needs to go back to what he did in the first 6 games, and that's take care of the football, throw touchdowns. If he plays well over these last 6 games, no one will remember the 1 or 2 games here in the middle where he didn't play well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that absolutely. Yeah, I think these next 3 matchups are good. Um, and then you go back into that Rams game for the division,
Hmm.
basically. And it's going to be a big story. It's going to be as big, if not bigger, than the last game. Which is good. I think that this is how the team evolves and grows. Really, it is a young team. I think we're the second or third youngest roster in the entire NFL. Got a young coach, um, and you learn from these opportunities, and hopefully you prevail. And I think
Yeah,
we gave ourselves a great chance to do that in this last game. I still would be super confident in the next game that we're going to be able to do whatever we need to do to win that game.
I would agree.
Until yeah, yeah.
Oh, can I give
So
you one interesting stat line from the defense that I just noticed and didn't have in my notes from prepping? Um, Devontae Adams, very, very good receiver. 8 targets, 1 reception for 1 yard.
mhm.
It happened to be a 1 yard touchdown pass, but that was his only catch. Give Devin Witherspoon some credit for that.
Yeah. All of our
That's
defensive backs.
that's that that's an incredible stat line. Um, and
The only thing I think the defense could clean up a little bit was their run defense. I think the Rams had 115 yards rushing on them, but you know what? The Rams were playing with the lead the entire game, so to hold them just to 115 yards, I think
yeah,
was pretty good. And total yards, what 240 or 250 or something like that. 283 was the no, that was the time before. I can't remember. I don't have that stat in front of me, but we were up like 425 total yards to 260 or something.
um, rushing. I don't have total yards, but I've got passing yards and rushing yards. I can add those together, and it comes out to be 249.
249. So it's 249 to 414. It's good. It's really good. Now, one last thing I wanted to ask you about was the clock management strategy and the going for it on certain fourth down opportunities in this game when you're matched up with who you're matched up with. Given the ending of the game and what you know now, do you still think that Mike Macdonald makes good decisions in those moments?
I do.
Knowing that the defense he does have.
That's the part that I think you have to take into consideration. People are like, no, they should go for it. Well, they're at midfield, and you're already turning the ball over a lot. But when you've got a defense that's as good as your defense, it doesn't you don't have to go for it every time. You can punt the ball on fourth
Or you could
down.
look at it, well, we could go for it. We're at midfield. We're still going to hold them. I mean, you
I
might
don't
give up
know.
three, but
You might give
yeah,
up three, but you can punt the ball. They're not going to score. You're going to get the ball back. You can play more conservatively on those um, in those situations when you have a really good defense.
you sound like Pete Carroll.
And okay, sure, Pete Carroll did it when he didn't have a good defense.
That's true.
Pete Carroll looked brilliant, in the years when they had the best defense in the league. The way he did it, but he also would continue to play that way when the defense was crap.
That is absolutely true.
And
That is actually the reason for the downfall. Really.
yeah,
He
because
never changed. He just didn't
he
change,
never
didn't
changed.
adapt.
Yeah, he didn't. And this go back to what Macdonald was saying, right? How do you change? How do you evolve? Pete Carroll stopped evolving. Um, I don't believe Mike Macdonald's going to do that. I think he's going to continue to push the envelope the same way that Sean McVay has continued to push the envelope offensively. He's continued to evolve and do things. That's why the offense has been so good, even though he's been there in LA for a while now, because he's continuing to improve, continuing to evolve, and um, McDonald talks about it like he knows that that's part of this game. Like and you watch what he did in Baltimore versus what he's doing in Seattle. He didn't just bring exactly the same system. He's adapted to the players that he has, and he's making it work with a
So
completely different set of players.
I have to believe the defensive guy that Mike Macdonald is, watching that performance from Sam Darnold was the worst possible case scenario for him because all
Hmm.
he wants to do is take care of the ball. It's all about the ball for a guy that's so defensive minded. And to have those turnovers have it essentially impact the game the way it did and cause the loss has got to be really difficult. How do you what kind of trust level do you have excuse me with the quarterback and Sam Darnold who leads the league in turnovers right now?
Um, I think you've got to make it really clear. Like this is, uh, we got rid of Geno-Smith because he led the league in getting turnovers. Um, he held this team back, and Darnold has been doing really well with you know running this offense and looking great, but he leads the league in turnovers now because of the last couple of weeks, and he needs to put a lid on that. Like that has to end. Um, he's in a spot where is he the franchise quarterback? If he continues to lead the league in turnovers, then he's not. and they'll go out and look for his replacement. But if he, gets this together and goes back to playing like he did in the first few games, um, then yeah, he'll be fine. Like it just becomes a mindset thing. Like, yeah, keep slinging it and whatever, but don't sling it to the other team.
Quote of the year. Right on. Anything else?
I don't know. It felt like we were saying that the offensive line played well, and I was like, no, Darnold was under pressure and all that. He wasn't sacked in this game against that defense, that defensive line, as good as they
And he
are.
had a lot of
He was,
attempts,
yeah, he was not sacked on 44 pass attempts.
And he's only
Um,
pressured on 29, I think 28 point something percent of the dropbacks, and only hit 3 times. And one of them
yeah.
was almost another turnover by Sam in that his arm barely was moving forward when he lost control of
Hmm.
that pass. I think Seattle kind of lucked out on that one, really, because it was a split second play. But yeah, yeah. Other than that, I think that they played well enough, right? And then Zabel goes down. You get Christian Haynes for the first time in a very long time. We'll see how that goes. Maybe it is a great opportunity for Christian to come in and get a game's worth of snaps. Not only for him, but I think for the team,
Hmm.
to be able to evaluate some game tape on him, so they understand exactly what's going on there. And and I'd like to see him, because he's been kind of hidden behind the curtains. Really, we've heard that he hasn't been able to beat anybody out. We've heard this, we've heard that. Well, hearing something and seeing something are completely two different animals, and it'd be nice to be able to see what his deficiencies are, or if he's beating expectations. I mean, that would be a great opportunity for him, I think.
Yeah, because if he comes out and plays well in this game, now it's Tennessee. They're
Maybe
not
he's a
very good.
gamer. I
Then
don't know.
fine. Um, but yeah, he comes out and plays well. Then maybe you can, he's not a lost cause, and you're like, all right, let's give him another camp to try and win that right guard job. You can kind of bring in someone to play the position in case he doesn't win it, but uh,
Right.
have him in there, give him a shot, or maybe move him to center because the two centers that you've got are decent. They're smart. They play like they're technically good, but
Right.
physically are limited.
Listen, here's the situation. Here, no matter how much we're not really bitching and moaning, but no matter how
We're
we
not.
complain about individual positions or whatever, Bradford needs to kind of have some competition. That's fine. I agree with that. But this team was 7-2 heading into the last game and are playing well enough to go to the
Hmm.
Super Bowl. Like, this offensive line is not holding this offense back enough to where we're like, Bradford needs to go today. It's he's the weakest link on a
Hmm.
pretty decent offensive line, really.
Yeah,
And so that's, to me, the takeaway so far this year is the offensive line is outperforming our expectations.
absolutely. That's absolutely true. And one of the things you look at is always like, okay, well, the offensive line is playing okay, but you get into the playoffs and you're playing better teams. You know, does it fall apart? That no, they just played
They just
an
played a playoff team.
absolutely elite defensive line in the Rams. Like Jared
Yeah,
Verse might be the defensive player of the year this year. Like he's having a monster year. Um, and so that was the team, and it was a huge game. That was, it's a divisional game that's had kind of that playoff atmosphere and all of that. And the offensive line did enough.
yeah. And I thought they played well
So,
against Arizona when Arizona was fully equipped in that first game. I thought they
mhm,
played well against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who had a great defensive line. And it was a shootout, that they have not impacted a game yet, have their play impact really a game or lose a game or whatever.
Not negatively. Yeah, they haven't negatively impacted a game, I don't believe.
You're going to have some games. I mean, we're going to lose some games, and maybe a play or two is going to impact. But overall, they've enabled us to win more than lose, for sure.
Yeah, we expected this to be, we were like, if they can be league average, we'll be fine. And I think they've been significantly better than league average. Their pass blocking has been good overall.
Their pass blocking is top 10.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the pressures and hits allowed and sacks allowed, they're top 10 in all those categories.
Mm-hmm. Run blocking, there's still too many mistakes, too many missed blocks, too many guys in the backfield before the running back can get to a hole. But it's a brand new scheme for them, this zone stretch scheme. And honestly, go back and look and go back to Alex Gibbs, who's the developer of zone blocking and the creating of this running style. And he'll tell you it takes more than a year. And he'll also tell you that 60% of your practice time should be spent practicing zone stretch plays. If you want
the timing, the footwork, etc., working as a tandem.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So there's been a little bit of chatter before this game. I don't know what's going to happen, but Klint Kubiak is a coaching name that's coming up, right? Seems logical. Now Kubiak needs to do a little bit of work on his, presentation skills, so to speak. But there's a chance you could get picked off this offseason, and he would take everyone with him that he could. How do we keep the continuity? Do they have a plan in place so this offensive line doesn't go through a regression?
I don't know. I don't know if they have a plan in place. I don't think he gets picked off this year because he's bounced around. He's had a lot of one or two and done offensive coordinator jobs. I think teams will want to see success and presentation skills. Like, you see him when he gets up and does a press conference. He's not refined enough to step up and do that and lead the team that way. I think the team has another year to put together a succession plan while he develops a resume a little bit better. But you look at where the offense was last year and where the offense is this year, and there are going to be GMs that are like, we could use that. Like, that's something that we could use. You just got to go out and find the next guy.
Very interesting. Yeah, that'll be an interesting off-season conversation. Okay, let's get out of here, and we'll come back later in the week, and we will discuss the upcoming game and preview that. Put this thing behind us. Look forward to the next one, and the next matchup with the Rams. I think is the key to the entire season when it's all said and done. You can find Keith on Blue Sky at Myers NFL. You can find me at NW Seahawk. You know where the show's at, all that good stuff. So we'll see you later in the week. Until next time, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Seahawks Playbook podcast listeners, thanks for joining us for another edition of the show. You can find us on Twitter. Bill is at NW Seahawk. Keith is at Myers NFL. And the show is at Hawks Playbook. You can listen and subscribe to the show at SeahawksPlaybook.com.